I found more people who are struggling with their apartment complex. So I'll share some of my stories a little bit later, but let's just get right into it.
Will you guys tell me if I'm being crazy or if I'm being like gaslit by an apartment building or if this is like the new norm and I've just been out of the game for a while? Well, there's this new apartment building in this city, hasn't even opened yet, doesn't even open till June 1, right? So I've never seen it in person. I've just been going off like the pictures online. So I've been working with a leasing agent there and I was like, hey, like I want like this view, this square footage, this. She's like, this is the perfect one. She's sending me videos. She's like, awesome, we can completely do this. Just put in your application and your deposit. We'll approve you and like it's yours. And when you show up on the first, keys in hand, good to go. I was like, sick, let's do it. Send the application. So she sends me the application and I see it's taking me to like this third-party website. And I was like, okay. And so I click on the website and it's pretty standard, you know, like type in your stuff for like a background check and like where have you lived in the past, like stuff like that. Well, then it gets to like the money portion to see if like, you know, if you make the money you say you do. So then it goes, what's your social security? I'm like, okay, type that in. It's like, what's your checking number? What's your routing number? Okay, I type both in. And then it goes, what bank do you bank with? Like on a drop down menu. And I was like, okay. So I click on it and like what bank I bank with. And then it like pops up and it was like, what's your username and password for this bank, for your online banking? Excuse me? And so I tried to just like leave it blank and click next. And it was like, no, we must know your like your online banking info. And then so I pressed like the like Y button, like the read more. And it was like, per this third party website, we have the right to go back 12 months into your bank statements, money in, money out every month. And during your duration at this new building, we get to have continuous access to your banking, see money in, money out. So right now I'm in like limbo. Is this normal? Is this like the new standard of like getting into a building?
Okay, so this video was very long and I ended up cutting like 3 or 4 minutes out. But basically, she had a phone call to see if there was any way around submitting her bank info and was told that she had to submit it if she wanted to live there. This was posted a couple of years ago, but recently for the apartment complexes that I have applied to, it seems like it is the standard now, but it feels very invasive, very strange. I'm not a fan of it. I feel like pay stubs should be enough. I don't want to give a random third-party website access to my bank account. That seems sketchy. But again, like her story, there's no way around it. They'll just tell you like, oh, that's the way we do it. Sorry. Has anybody else experienced this? I also just wonder if they have to do that now because people are in so much debt that like your pay stubs aren't enough, that they have to actually know what's in your bank account. Although it just feels weird that it has to come from like a third party website. Like, why can't it just be the apartment complex manager who like confirms that? Or you could just like show it on your phone. I just don't get it.
I know this isn't as bad as some horror stories, and there are some pros. I'm not going to name the apartment complex, but for context, I have 2 other girl roommates, and it's like townhouse style living. So the problem started literally the first day of move-in. Keep in mind that people before us moved out like a month before so that they could prepare the apartment, and we get here and it's absolutely disgusting. My carpet was soaking wet, which you would think that means they cleaned it. No, it was full of dirt. There were bugs literally jumping out of my carpet, so we had to get pest control to spray before I moved in any of my stuff. There were stains on the walls, poorly patched up holes, the list goes on and on. So we also have to clean up my disgusting bathroom and the living room, so my mom goes next door because she's like, maybe they just forgot to clean yours. The mom of the people moving in next door is like, no, ours is gross too. We found like needles in our couch. Another issue, we were missing Wi-Fi. They were switching their providers, which they had a full month to do before we got there. It was my first week of law school. I was panicking, had to go like all the way up to the top to beg for it to be put into my apartment so that I could do my work. Just ridiculous and annoying.
So this drives me crazy. I have had this same issue a couple times where I've moved into a new apartment and it has not been cleaned before I get there. Now, I'm kind of a clean freak and everybody's level of cleanliness is a little bit different, but there are just simple things that you should do between tenants, like between move in, move out, right? Like, especially if you're charging a cleaning fee or keeping some of their deposit. You have got to put in that work to make the apartment look nice for the next person. And I'm talking about very simple things. For example, my last apartment in Florida, I had to vacuum each room 3 times to get like all the dirt. I was leaving like dirty footprints on the tile and in the bathtub, and I couldn't figure out what was making my feet so dirty. And it was just the carpet. Like there was just that much dirt and dust in the carpet, and they hadn't even vacuumed it before I moved in. Also, I had to sweep up like dead bugs, and the past tenant's hair was like all over the place. And it's just like, guys, I'm paying $2,100 a month for this apartment. You should just be able to do a little bit of cleaning before I move in, right? And also, I wanted to touch on that last point with the Wi-Fi. I work from home, and I understand the panic where it's like, guys, I need the Wi-Fi. Why isn't it ready? Like, we've been going through this process for the last month. The apartment should just be ready when you move in. They know your move-in date. They know when they should get it ready. It should not be that hard.
My apartment complex has reached a new level of crazy and are really desperate to get fines out of the residents. I just got an email saying that residents will no longer have access to the trash room. There are 2 on every floor. Mine is 10 feet from my door. It's literally the next door over. It takes me literally less than 30 seconds to take out my trash. We must, from now on, use the valet trash service, which I personally tried to opt out of because I think it's stupid. I've seen them come, they take like a little wagon, load in like 2 bags, and they throw it into the trash room. They don't even take it off site, and they don't even do recycling in my buildings. Not to mention, they are so strict. It's only Monday through Thursday. You have to put it out between 6 and 8, and your trash bin can't be outside past 9 a.m. And if you break any of these rules, it's a $50 fine each time.
So we briefly touched on this in the last video, but valet trash is an absolute scam. There's no reason that apartment complexes should be forcing people to pay for this service, because taking out your garbage is not that hard. I don't need to pay somebody to do it for me. At the very least, I think it should be optional. If they really want to provide that type of service, we should be able to choose if we want to pay for that, or if we can just be an adult and take our own garbage out. It's not that hard. I really feel frustrated for this girl and her situation, because the trash room is like 10 feet away from her apartment. That's crazy to be forced to pay somebody else to walk 10 feet. It's like, why can't I just do it myself? I just don't get it. And to finish off the video, I just wanted to read some comments that I found on some other videos, but also comments that were left on my last video. Lived in Kennesaw in what seemed to be a very nice apartment, but they had rats in the walls and you could hear them scurrying all hours of the day and night. This is something that I read a lot of comments on. Lots of roaches, lots of spiders, lots of rats. You guys got to be careful where you move into, because it could be infested and you won't know that until after you live there. In Smyrna, Georgia, upstairs neighbors used to jump around, confronted them more than once, told the leasing office, moved within 2 months of staying there, and now we're in our own quiet townhome. This is also another mixed bag that you just don't know until you move in somewhere how loud your neighbors are going to be. And you can only complain so many times before it causes like a lot of awkward tension that you just have to deal with living next to these loud people. I had water randomly pouring through my kitchen light from the apartment upstairs, and they told me to just buy a lamp. Same landlord, but different building. An outlet caught on fire and they just ignored it. The whole building burned down less than 2 years after I moved out. My next landlord, I mentioned how one of our neighbors was selling drugs and there were random addicts sleeping in our yard, and he did nothing about it. Turns out the landlord was also buying drugs from that neighbor. Why can't landlords just be better people? It's not that hard to just address issues that come up, especially if the tenant is like paying on time and they're obviously concerned. They want to keep your place nice. Like, just do the right thing. I sold my condo and moved to a 55 plus apartment complex, one of the best decisions I ever made. It is wonderful and I love living here. Just signed lease number 9. I have looked at 55 plus communities because sometimes they do let in younger people. You just have to check their rules. Like sometimes it's like an 80-20% type rule. Not a bad idea, especially if you live in Florida. There are so many 55 plus like living situations. I'm just going to buy land and build hobbit homes for people to live in for cheap. Imagine if we all made community living like this. I would love that. Let me know when you finish the first hobbit home and I'll put down a deposit. If you can't tell by the room around me, I have moved, and I'm much happier in my new apartment complex. Obviously, no place is perfect, and you can always find some type of problem, but compared to my last place, I love it here. It is possible to find a good place, but there's a lot left up to chance. I'd love to hear any of your bad apartment complex stories. Please share those in the comment section below. If you like this video, here's another one that you can watch. Subscribe if you're related to any of these videos, and I'll catch you next time.